Lamott, founder of childrenandvisiondevelopment.org with me. How are you today, Dr. Lamott?
Oh man, I'm feeling great. It's only 13 degrees here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, but man, I'm hot. I feel really good. This is a great experience. Thank you so much for having me on. I love it. Thank you very much.
Excellent. For those of you that are watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. Don't forget, you could still join us. So feel free to go to childrenandvisiondevelopment.org and click the Get Involved page. You'll be able to come right into the event and join us live. So Dr. Lamott, tell us a little bit about how we got here today.
Well, I'm a state licensed optometrist in Minnesota for the last 40 years, and I've noticed all kinds of interesting cases that as they came in, they were basically having trouble with reading, headaches, eye strain, all these kinds of things. And as I went along as a young practitioner, I found out they were due to what's called binocular vision problems, and we'll talk about that a little later in the program today. But basically, it kind of bothered me, so I started to do a little bit more study and started to work with these mostly children, but some young adults and even adults. And we started to help them with a special thing called Prism, and we'll get into that later on too. But basically, I just got better and better and better at it, and I really loved it. But I realized that not everybody really was into it as much as I was, and I got a lot of referrals, and it was kind of cool. It was a real good practice builder, and I found that, man, this is really rewarding. It helped children a lot of times that had ADHD and ADD and stuff, and some of them, were on meds, and I worked with them, and I didn't say there was a cure involved at all, but I just helped them as much as I could, and some of them were able to get off those meds, and that was really, really rewarding. And so basically over the last 40 years, I've kind of tried to refine my skills and that sort of thing. But at this point, I'd really like to introduce a man who also shares these kinds of views, and I believe he's here. Is he? Is Dr. Anton ready to go? Charlene? Okay. All right. He's here. So, Dr. Antonin, I'd like to introduce you. You are a eye doctor too, optometrist out of California. And you can go ahead and introduce yourself if you're there. Are you there?
I'm going to try and bring him onto the stage. So we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Let me see if I can.
All right. Well, before we introduce him, then I'll go ahead and introduce my newest member of my board, Dr. Irina Yakubin. She's out of California as well, and she's a wonderful young doctor of optometry, and she's also my director of PR. And so she's going to be really oh, there he is. Okay, I guess we have Dr. Anthony and Dr. Yakubin in there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do Dr. David Antonin first, because I know he's in practice right now, and he's just taking a break from his work to say hi, and thank you, doctor, for coming on. How you doing?
How are you doing, everybody? I'm Dr. David Antonian. I'm an optometrist practicing out of Santa Clarita, California. I share the same passion as Dr. Al. I discovered my own issues with binocular vision dysfunction. I figured out the amount of prisms I needed, and since then my life has changed. And ever since I discovered binocular vision dysfunctions and the ways that prisms can change people's lives, I started practicing in my own office, in my own practice, and I've been able to help a lot of people change their lives for the better. So just like Dr. Al was saying, people with difficulties with reading, keeping eye contact, focusing, attention, having issues like dizziness, nausea, vertigo, motion sickness, all kinds of things, migraines, panic attacks, and anxiety as well, can all be caused from a strain in our eyes. So, my passion over time just grew more and more, and I'm just very passionate right now helping people and being able to change lives. So thank you guys for this opportunity to be able to talk about it and to be able to spread awareness of it so more doctors like us can help more people.
Great. Well, thank you, Dr. Angel. We're going to talk more about it later in the program, and go ahead and watch the view schedule up there for you guys that want to see it. He'll spend more time, but right now he's probably got to get back to his patients. Is that correct, doctor?
Yes, I've actually, I took a break just now. I just came to the gym, but I'm going to go right back.
Okay, well, hang in there, but okay, well, we're just going to introduce Dr. Yakubin, and again, I'm sorry for that, Dr. Yakubin, but you got a little messed up there, but we're okay. And she's the newest member of my board for childrenandvisiondevelopment.org, and I think we're going to have that up here on the right-hand side on our chat, and she's going to explain to you some of the ways that you can participate in helping us produce these types of programs. So go ahead, Dr. Jacobin.
Hi, guys. Super happy to be here. Thank you, Dr. Lamont, for the introduction. So some of the ways to participate are actually, all of the ways to participate are on your right-hand side if you're on the platform. We have a chat going, we have a Q&A. If you want to message somebody directly, you can click on people, find the person that you want to message, and then go ahead and shoot them a message and say hi, find a place to meet, or even meet in the lounge.
And
so
let's explain what the lounge is. Let's explain what the lounge is.
Sure.
When we're not live.
Yes, when we're not live, we do have tables set up so that we can all interact, get questions answered, and just hang out. So don't be shy. Join us at a table, and just get to know us. We're here to help answer any questions, and also educate you about children vision development and performance vision.
Good. Well, I want to thank the sponsors, the major sponsors of this, as well as all the people that have donated smaller amounts. And the big sponsors that we have today are Hugh Lens and the company Hugh Lens, and it's run by Mr. Fong, and I'll be interviewing him later more about his products and his services. Also, IQ is here as a big sponsor, and so we're going to talk about them later on and some of their product line, and also have you participate in their fundraisers. And when you buy those products, they also sponsor us indirectly. So that's really exciting because they're some of our first big sponsors, and they're large manufacturers, and so that's always nice to have them on board and have faith in us. And I really appreciate that, because that's a tough thing to do as a larger company, to have faith in a young nonprofit organization. So we just want you to know that any donations are 501c3, completely deductible. If you do want to give a donation, we love it. But what we really would love to do is partner with a lot of you, especially since now we've had local interest from many cities across the country and the world. And so we're trying to really make sure that Performance Vision reaches as many parts of the globe as we can. And it's going to be a very fun ride, and it's going to be really fun to do because that's our passion. So go ahead, Dr. Jacobin.
Absolutely. And if you are in any sort of media and you're looking to partner, please reach out to me either here, or you can look up my first and last name on LinkedIn. So Dr. Lamont, while we're here, I wanted to kind of walk with you through a couple of questions that our audience might have, especially because this is our first event like this. Because this is really the first event where we have, eye care professionals coming together and learning from each other. But this is also an event that's very much public facing.
That's what we really want. Yeah, public. Yep.
So this is, the Performance Vision Summit. So for people who don't know, how do you define performance vision?
Well, it's kind of hard because, it's something new in my vocabulary. We don't use it every day in optometry, as you know. We usually talk about visual acuity and things like that, and sometimes binocular vision. But performance vision, I think, goes above and beyond those kinds of considerations. And probably not every optometrist really even makes it part of their normal eye exam. I know I don't actually, and I should, and I will from this point on. But I think the concept was actually kind of coined here, and it's kind of cool. And what I think it is basically going into areas that we, like at work, or maybe sports, or esports. In this case, we're going to have esports involved. All kinds of activities that we do that aren't just your everyday walking around or driving kind of stuff. I think as an optometrist, we worry about your work a little bit. We do worry about your walking around and your driving and your home kind of things, but don't really get into the sports side of things as much. And we probably don't get into the hunting, the fishing, and all these kinds of other areas. We just don't either have the time, or we don't necessarily know if the patient really needs those kinds of things. So they kind of wait for them to bring them up. And this is kind of a way we can kind of just educate the public about general things that they're probably experiencing every day, and they don't realize that optometry and also other eye care professionals and manufacturers can have a great degree of impact in their lives. So that's kind of what I think about performance vision.
Absolutely, sure. And you know what? I remember in school, as part of our case history, and I think even on boards, we do have, that question about hobbies and like, what do you do for work? And then what do you do outside of work? And I've tried to ask that question. And a lot of the time with the patients that I've seen, I ask about hobbies and they're like, oh, nothing.
Yeah, they always say nothing.
And
They
maybe
always say
it's
nothing.
because they're shy or maybe because they think it's not relevant. But
Yeah.
guys, if you are watching, we ask you this question for a reason. And if your eye doctor doesn't ask you that question, but you have a hobby that you're really passionate about and you want to see if, your vision can get optimized to help you do that hobby, definitely let your eye doctor know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think optimization is really the key to performance vision, and that just means we have options that we probably don't realize. I mean, as a public person, you don't realize that there's tons and tons of ways we can help you that you're not even aware of, and sometimes we're not even aware of. I mean, I'm not up on every part of this thing, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to learn. Are you here to learn, Dr. Jacobin?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're always here to learn. So, I just think it's great. So, Heather came up with a nice, looks like a dictionary definition of performance vision, and that's good. I think does it show throughout, or is it just shows
No,
us? I think.
so performance vision is taking advantage of all the studies and technology available now to go above and beyond when it comes to visual acuity and now connecting it with bettering our performance.
Yeah, there
So
you go.
So this goes into things like binocular vision, contrast sensitivity, um,
Color
sports
vision,
vision, color vision.
color vision. Just everything that would enhance the normal vision that we all think of as when we think of the word vision. Just anything that would enhance our ability to perceive the world around us, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about. So
Excellent. Yes. So, people watching may also wonder, how did we get here? Why are we here? Like what inspired us? So
well,
I know you talked a little bit about your background, but do you want to elaborate?
basically the thing that kind of inspired me is that I really like to change the world. I'd like to change the future, and I guess I got too many situations where I knew that were preventable. That if we just got the message out on the public side, that they would demand that these kinds of problems would be more addressed. And I think that's why I really got started with my 501c3 nonprofit. I just think we have to address these problems to the public so they're aware that children should get their eyes checked much, much earlier than I think the average person would know. And then, would you agree, Dr. Jacobin?
Absolutely, I agree. So my background is a little bit different. I'm not binocular vision focused. I'm more pathology and primary care, and I've been practicing, in a couple of different settings, but generally, I've seen enough to know that a lot of parents don't know that they need to take their child in from age, and
Right.
I see children suffering for it.
Right. And even if you go to our AOA, which is the American Optometric Association's webpage, I believe it's AOA.org, isn't it? Yes.
Mhm.
And if you go there and you read about when children should have their eyes checked, I believe they say 3 months is the very first time. And a lot of people kind of balk at that because they believe that, well, what can we do with 3 months? Well, there's a lot of things you can do at 3 months. Now, I'm not a pediatric optometrist, but there are some, and we'd really like to encourage more optometrists to get into that field, but we have to create the demand. And I think that's, like you said, how did we get here? It's because there probably isn't the demand, and we need to create that demand because that's what the AOA says. The AOA says that from studies that 3 months is a good time for the first exam for eyes for kids, and it's just not happening. If you ask most adults that have children when's their first time they should have their eyes checked, they may say 4, 5, 6 if you're lucky. They won't say 3 months. I'll guarantee it. Is that correct, sir, ma'am?
So I believe it's actually 6 months. The
6 months.
first eye exam
Okay.
ideally is at 6 months of age.
6 months.
This is
Okay.
a checkup to make sure that things are going well. I can actually walk you through that. I was part of infancy as a
Okay.
student, even.
All right.
And
Well, anyway, it's much, much earlier than most parents would even think.
absolutely.
So, and I think if there's pediatricians out there watching us, I'd really like them to take note of that, and they probably aren't aware of it as much as they probably could be too. And I don't blame them at all. I just think that the awareness to the public and to the pediatricians through this program and things like this would be really great, because I think the reason why there's not as many pediatric optometrists is they don't have the demand. So we got to create the demand. So why are we here? To create demand for better vision care, especially for younger children, although, everyone. But I'd say my particular thrust in children and vision development obviously is children. And I think that my 40 years proves to me that it's just not being done. And the proof is that they keep coming in with preventable problems that we could have fixed had we seen them earlier. And that's the bottom line is that. My future, I want children and vision development to be a reason for people to understand that their kids need to come in for eye exams way before they think they do. That's kind of where I'm at and why I'm here. So that's the answer to that question. How did we get here? That's how we got here.
Absolutely. I very much agree. Although I don't think we're creating the demand. I think the demand is absolutely very much already there. But what people don't know is what to do about it. And this is why we have, so much misdiagnosis and so many children who are suffering and not doing well in school, and they don't, understand what's happening, and they're not having a very good time in life because nobody knows how to help them, and all it takes is an eye exam.
Right. That too. I think it's both. I think you're right. We both ends of that thing. A lot of people are just unaware and they don't know that there's a solution. And we're here to let them know there is a solution. And Dr. Antonian will go over some of the special solutions that we have, and we'll discuss that later as well. But that's how we got here. So what are we doing here today, Dr. Jacobin? What are we actually doing?
Right. So we have a couple of very fun events in store for you. So after this, at the top of the hour, we have a spotlight on esports. If you guys don't know what esports are, you're in for a treat. I definitely recommend tuning in. We have Hugh Lenz presenting right after performance vision with headsets, which the metaverse is here. A lot of people are using headsets, and there's going to be a whole lot of interest and curiosity about this in the very near future. So I suggest getting the jump on it now. Following that, we have, give me 1 second, my schedule is running away from me. So a little bit more on children and vision development with Dr. Lamott. Mm-hmm. And we have a whole lot of things planned. Once we have a little bit more momentum, and I think that these are already on the books. We just have to announce them, basically.
Sure. Okay, well, that's great. Mm-hmm. Charlene, I noticed you popped on.
Yeah, because we all work together as a team to put this event on, and we're just three of the huge group of volunteers that got behind this. Our social media team, our events team, Dr. Shidlovsky and the International Sports Vision Association and Neuro-Optometric Rehabilitation Association. They've kind of, adopted and partnered with our cause. And I wanted to just chime in a little bit because there's just so much I've learned about performance vision in the short time that we've been planning this event. And there's a lot of people out there in the world that are super excited that they have this part of the conversation to be involved in. Esports players, gamers, people into the metaverse, people into anything related to computer usage. There just seems to be a lot of questions out there that people have been wanting to get answered. And I just think it's great that we're here to open up that door. The VR and AR topic, I think, is a really important topic. There isn't a lot of place where you can get these answers. And we're fortunate to have Rose with us, who is an expert here. The people representing esports are three of the top esports players in the world. So they're really representative of this tremendous community. And as eye care providers, as, eye doctors and even opticians, there's just this great opportunity there that is waiting for us to explore it and connect with these individuals. So thank you so much for letting me pop on and kind of put my little 2 cents in about the schedule. I just wanted to share that because I was a little bit more behind the scenes on that stuff, just to give you guys a little assistance. All right, I'll see you soon.
All right. So you have more questions that you wanted to ask Dr. Jacobin?
Absolutely. I did want to mention 2 more events. Charlene we actually kind of touched on them earlier as well. So we will have Dr. Charles Shidlovsky coming on, as well as Dr. Antanyan coming back to talk about performance vision and binocular vision.
Right.
So we do have a full schedule today, but don't worry, we'll give you breaks.
Yeah, that's true. Well, what
All
do you
right.
feel is unique about this event, Dr. Jacobin?
So I think one of the biggest things that's really unique is the fact that we do have providers, kind of coming together as a group, but also interacting with the public, because there are many amazing events. For instance, the American Academy of Optometry or the AOA, events where eye care professionals come together. We learn, we interact, we learn about products, we learn continuing education, but we don't really have an event where we come together and kind of try to interact with the public as eye care professionals in a way that's not, in an exam room. In an exam room, it's very much individual. You're interacting with that patient. And, it's a very different dynamic from just coming together and sitting down, dialoguing and figuring out, hey, what are your questions? What do you need? So I'm really excited to, sit down with people who are using their eyes in very specific ways and figure out, what is it that they need? What are they finding that they're not getting from their eye doctor? Or what is it that they're finding maybe that they have questions about?
Or possibly what are they not getting from their optician too? There's lots of stuff about lenses and things that the opticians have a lot of impact in. So it's about
Very true.
not just optometry, but also the opticians, which help us fit the correct prescriptions and glasses and different devices, that sort of thing as well. So we don't want to forget about those. And I just want to know if there's anybody in the audience that's watching right now that would like to ask the question. Go ahead and tap it into the chat area there, and we'll be happy to put it up for you and discuss it. If you would like to do that, we're always open to that throughout the whole program. Isn't that true?
Absolutely. Let's see.
Anybody have a question right now at this second? You see anything there? Okay. I'm not seeing any of you.
Wait, see a question. So talking about buying glasses in person versus online.
Oh, okay.
So that's a fun one to discuss for sure.
And here's one.
I'm seeing more questions.
Here's one here. How can other companies or sponsors get involved? What should they do, Dr. Jacobin?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of ways to get involved. The simplest way to get involved, or even is just to be, supportive. So join us on Facebook, join us at our events, like, comment, and subscribe.
Okay.
If you want to do a little bit more, again, we are always looking for partners and media partners. We're always looking to work together with other, not just eye care facing companies, but also companies that are passionate about making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are able to donate, there are actually a couple of ways you can donate. One way is to just donate to Children in Vision Development directly. And then the other way to donate is actually, make a purchase from one of our sponsors, because they are actually donating a part of their proceeds back to Children in Vision Development.
Which we're very happy about that. And we thank them so much for it. And again, just as mentioned who they are, Hue Lens and IQ. IQ is spelled EYEQUE. And they'll tell you more about their products, or we'll tell you more about their products, and they will as well. Mr. Fong will be on later to do a whole hour on his company, so that'll be great. And so stay tuned for that one. And we're very happy that IQ has been helping us out too. They have many different products for screening and better screening than has been out there in the past, and we really appreciate their continued support. Looks, I have a question over here. Did you see it there, Dr. Jacobin?
Yeah, so I see, will you be touching on myopia management from Donna? So not during this event. We will likely have another event in the future to talk about myopia management in a little bit more detail. Let's see what else. There's often a stigma for kids with glasses. How do we make it cool?
Yeah.
So there's actually a couple of people, just in the country that are trying to help children overcome that stigma. One is also a nonprofit called Truffles the Kitty. So this is actually a cat who wears glasses and who will wear eye patches. So seeing that, children become a lot more comfortable. They're like, oh, the cat's doing it. That looks really cool. So I'll be cool doing that. And even though Truffles is, I believe, in Colorado, I can't remember what state she's in, but I've actually, when I see a child, start their eyes start welling up with tears when I say they need glasses, I'm like, but look, this is Truffles. And that changes the whole conversation. So I think just making it more, commonplace, and making really cute, kids frames that children will actually like, I think will slowly help us overcome that stigma. What do you think, Dr. Lamont?
Well, I think we should mention right off the bat and why it's so important that we get kids checked early. It's not just because we want them to get glasses. It's because it affects their brain for the long run. And their brain isn't developing. And that's why, again, children vision development is in there. The word development is really the key word. And children is, of course, a key word as well. So that's why I named it that. Because if you don't do anything in the first 5 or 6 years, actually 3 to 5 years, the brain does not develop its ability to see for the rest of your life. And that's kind of scary from a standpoint of an optometrist. And here's the really cool thing I think about being an optometrist, we are uniquely qualified to prevent these kinds of problems. And so I feel it's almost our major thing out there that people kind of don't realize is that we're not here just to fix you. We're here to prevent the problem to begin with. And I think the prevention is probably one of the big reasons why I'm standing here today. It's the real reason why I'm here, because how many problems out there can you absolutely prevent all the time? Almost all the time. I shouldn't say all the time, but just about every time, if they're properly managed early. I mean, there's not that many diseases or problems or disorders that you can prevent, but this one is would you say almost fully preventable, Dr. Jacobin?
I agree. Yeah. Assuming, that the parents and child are compliant.
Yeah, right.
So,
I mean, I'm talking about it can be with all the compliance factors, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah,
there is a fix, is what I'm trying to say. There is a fix.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You just have to follow the fix.
So thanks for who is D out there?
Let's see.
D. I don't know who D is, but thank you, D. That was a nice thing to say, and I appreciate it.
You guys are getting such great engagement. I've been hosting these virtual events. Dr. Jacobin and I have done probably close to 50 of these in the last 3.5 years. And I think you've had more engagement and more people popping on than we've seen in the past. So it's just so great to see. And I notice a lot of the faces here. We've got people coming from the Web3 world and the metaverse world, people coming from the optometry world, the optical world. It's just amazing to see us all coming together. By the way, we have a correction. Truffles the Kitty is, I believe, in Pennsylvania. I knew she was somewhere on the East Coast. I didn't remember exactly where. Thank you, Dr. Vanilla Warford, for that.
I think Truffles the Kitty lives right next to Punxsutawney Phil. Just kidding.
And we do actually have another question here. I'll show it on stage. Les Lamont.
That's my brother. Good old brother.
Yeah, great question. So, what can the average person do to encourage young families, and especially mothers, to see that young children need this help so young in their lives? And just super quick, you know me, I'll chime in here. I
Go
had
ahead.
two children that had issues related to this that I did not know. And I was a single mother, which is especially hard because you're working and you're taking care of your kids. And it is kind of unfortunately easy to miss these things because my child had perfect vision. She had 20/20 vision, according to the pediatrician and the school. So there was, really no reason for me to take her to an optometrist as well because she didn't have anything in her eye. And at that point in my career in the industry, I didn't understand how important preventative eye care was. I just thought if the pediatrician was not recommending it, I did not need to do it. And thankfully, I am in the industry, and I was able to talk to a few of my friends and explain some of the things I was seeing, which was really bizarre. My child never complained. She had an eye that was turning white in her pictures, and it freaked me out a little bit. And it turned out that it was because she was legally blind. So that's a great question, Les, because there are a lot of young parents that don't know how to talk to their kids to help them to kind of communicate. A lot of them don't even know they have these problems. Dr. Jacobin, Dr. Lamott, I'd love to hear your feedback on how a parent can communicate to their kids so that the child can properly explain this problem. Because, is it possible that maybe these kids don't know they have these challenges?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think kids will ever know because that's the problem. They can't tell you because what they're experiencing is what's in their brain. And because what's in their brain is just a combination of the two eyes, however they come together at that point, that is the problem. The kid, you cannot rely on your child to tell you there's a problem. It's not obvious to them or you. The only one that can tell you is us. Unfortunately, I suppose, for everybody. I think it's fortunate because we do have people like us that can absolutely identify these in an objective way so that you don't have to. So basically, all you have to do, bring them in and find a good pediatric optometrist or a regular optometrist like me to bring them to, and they can easily identify these things. Are not that hard to find. It's quite easy, actually. It's just that we don't have them in our chairs. And so at this time, I wanted to take a special announcement, unannounced. I know this probably shouldn't happen, but we're going to do it anyway. I just got married to a lovely young lady, and I want to put her on because she is the executive vice president of childrenvisiondevelopment.org. And she also has her own little story. We'll give her a few minutes because, we don't have all day, but I would definitely, she very much is involved in binocular vision. And of course, that's one of my specialties, always has been. And I'll be honest with you, it isn't the reason she married me. Ha, ha, ha. Anyway, here she is. Her name is Peggy Smith, and my new wife of about 10 weeks. Here she is, Peggy Smith.
Woohoo.
Yeah, she's definitely the better looking one, right? Yes, exactly.
Hello. I have a passion for this simply because I have struggled with migraines for close to 35 to 40 years on a daily basis. And I've also struggled so much with it that I really had to give up my profession, which was working in medicine. And it also struggled with being a mom. And I traveled all over the country seeing specialists and seeing all kinds of eye doctors and seeing neurologists and you name it, I saw them. And nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. And it ended up, and when I started seeing Dr. Lamott, I had just come back from a specialist in Chicago, and I didn't know, I had spent thousands of dollars on what was going on. Had no clue what was going in the tests that they had performed. And he said, well, let me take a look at your eyes. And I said, well, okay. And I had him take a look at my eyes, and I will let him tell you exactly what was going on. And he ended up finding what was going on, and it was a binocular vision issue that was a rare issue. So I'll let him explain. And so because of that, my migraines I no longer have. So I'm able to be a mom again. And I'm just able to be a better person. I do have some other disabilities, but the migraines, it's so nice not to have them anymore after 35 to 40 years, which is absolutely wonderful. I'll always be in glasses, which is okay with me. I'll take that over migraines any days. So anyways, I'll have Dr. Lamont explain exactly what was wrong and why binocular vision is a passion for us with other kids too.
Okay, well, I won't do that right now, but we'll do that later with Dr. Antonian because that's the part of the program. But I thought it'd be fun to introduce the executive vice president of this, and you can see her passion stems not just because she's married to me. It's because she actually had big issues, and it is kind of interesting how I ended up falling in love and marrying with somebody with a really severe problem that now is gone. It's just a wonderful feeling, both professionally and personally. So I can't tell you how 40 years of experiencing basically people that absolutely love and adore you because they won't go to anybody else is just, I can't tell you. And that's kind of what led to this as well. So I want everyone to have that option to be able to go to people who know what they're doing in the areas and fix them.
And jumping off of that, Dr. Lamont, one of the things we did early on with this initiative to raise awareness, because this is not easy to get this many people to come and take time out of your busy day on a Thursday. So thank you to all of you that are here. We have our amazing social media siren, Princess in the crowd, and she has helped us reaching out to support groups for binocular vision and children in vision. And a lot of them have come into our group because we have eye doctors there, and they've been excited to be able to get access to, doctors that they could talk to, because a lot of them don't have a place where they can get these answers, and they don't know if it's binocular vision or, what it might be causing these challenges. But like Peggy said, a lot of individuals out there know there's something wrong. They just can't get the answers. And I think, Dr. Lamont, what you're doing to equip eye care providers in the industry with the tools that they need so they can feel confident assessing these things is just tremendous. Thank you so much for putting this event on. Well, so does anybody go ahead? I'm listening.
I'm sorry. I'm really excited about the esports because, to be honest with you, I'm not an esports player, and I can't wait to hear about esports because it's all new to me, and it's going to be really fun because it's another area of performance vision that we all came up with together as a team, and I'm just excited as heck to hear. This will be my first time really hearing about it as well. And so again, I told you I was here to learn, and I'm not here just to espouse, but I am here to learn, and that's coming up very soon. So at this point, are we going to wrap it up here, Charlene? Or
yeah, do you guys, Dr. Jacobin, do you have any last words?
I know we still have a couple of questions coming in, actually. So I'm answering a couple of the comments.
Let's do those. Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's definitely.
And then this is actually a really fun one. So, can binocular vision issues be picked up by looking at a child's corneal reflex in their photos?
Sometimes, yes. I believe that's true. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Unfortunately,
so
probably unskilled people probably can't do it, but yes, you could do it. It's just that we don't encourage you to do it at home. I mean, yeah, you can do it, but that's not what. It's not a good screening tool, I don't think. But you can use it as such. But it can be done.
Also not. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about this word, which is really important. It's accessibility, right? Not everybody is going to see this and run right to their eye doctor because people have time. They're worried about insurance. So having these amazing platforms like Dr. Antonian, he has a TikTok channel. He has millions of followers. Now, obviously, he would prefer for them to come into a physical office, and he talks about physical offices around the world because he's in California, so he can't be everywhere. But he uses these platforms. And we encourage you as eye care professionals to do this. He uses his platform to reach millions of people. And he'll be talking a lot about this later with Dr. Lamont, but he talks about how people come back to him and say, thank you, I went to my doctor. So we can't see social media and online and screening as something that's working against us. It can actually work for us just by raising awareness. I mean, there's a reason a lot of people aren't getting the care that they need. And I really think after all of the research that we've done with this event, it really boils down to they're just not educated. And I think we can wrap up there because Dr. Lamont, that's basically the reason you started this foundation, was to educate the public. So it's evidence that what you're doing is working, right?
Yeah. I just want to mention one last thing is that when you mentioned screenings, one of our sponsors is a manufacturer of many different screening methodologies. And part of the funds that will come to us through them is from the purchase of these screening methodologies. So I just want to make sure that we get that in there, that IQ is that sponsor, and they're wonderful people, and they're really working hard to make sure that if you absolutely can't afford or can't access an optometrist right away, at least you have some other methodologies to identify these things other than just looking at pictures and things like that. These are very good screeners. They're much more enhanced screeners than I've ever seen, and they're getting better every year due to IQ. And we really appreciate their contribution to this. Thank you very much. And we'll wrap up for now. And we'll invite you to go to your tables. You'll see when we go off here that there are tables that you can go to, and any subject or anybody you want to talk to, you can talk to more directly. Thank you very much so far. It's been a wonderful time so far.
Just to jump off on that, Dr. Lamott, virtual is new. And if you go to a physical event, sometimes people are a little more, courageous interacting. But when we take this break, feel free to sit at a table with a topic that you're interested in talking about. And other people will be there to talk as well. We're all very friendly here. So we look forward to seeing you in the lounge.
Okay.
Bye.
See ya.